Hey kids, we're going to go over the week 8 remote work. This is a chance for you to check your answers. We're going to start out with the evaluating numerical expressions. And you know that when we have different operations in an expression, you have to solve those operations in a certain order. Now we talked about doing the parentheses first, then multiplication and division from left to right, and then any addition and subtraction from left to right. We talked about old school memory techniques that your parents might have learned, and that is that rule, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that is just a way to remember that the P for parentheses, exponents is for E, which we haven't done yet, so we have not worked on that particular part. But then the multiplication and division from left to right, and then adding and subtracting. All right, so the first part of this went over the steps, reminding you to do parentheses first, and then evaluate the remaining expression. And we know each time we do that, we write a new expression and then solve it just like we're starting all over again. On the back, it gave you an example of what to do if you have more than one set of those order symbols, like parentheses or the brackets. And that was something that we said we don't use those a lot in 5th grade, but you might see them. So in this example, what do you do first? Well, you would do the innermost grouping symbols, the parentheses, rewrite your problem, and then bring down those brackets. And then those brackets say that you're going to do those operations next, and then evaluate the rest of the expression. And one example was worked out here at the bottom for you. All right, let's start on problems. Okay, for this first one, you were asked to evaluate the following expression and use those order of operations. All right, so the first one, 13 plus 8 times 3, asks us which operation you're going to do first. Well, I know that I'm going to do the 8 times 3 first, and that is 24. And I write that right below my operation symbol. I bring down my other operation and my other number. So I'm going to do the multiplication first. What operation should you do next? Well, I just have one operation left, which is addition. So I'm going to write my addition symbol in there. And then what is the answer? Well, I'm going to stack those two numbers and add them to get 37. Okay, number 4, we were using order of operations, and this problem had a set of brackets in it. And so let's go over the steps that this example follows. Do in parentheses first to get 6. Bring down your other operation and your other number, and bring your brackets down, and then your other operation symbol and your 5. Solve what's inside the brackets. Bring down that last operation symbol and the 5, multiply those two to get the number 70. All right, on this one, you did it by yourself. You did what's in parentheses first. You said 6 minus 2, and you have 4. And I write that right below the operation symbol. I bring down my other operation and number, my other operation and number. Now I have multiplication and division left. I know that multiplication and division are done from left to right. So I'm going to say 7 times 4 is 28. Bring down my operation symbol in 2. And then 28 divided by 2 is 14. For this expression, we have 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to do what's inside of each parenthesis first, and then I'm going to rewrite my expression. 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down my symbol. 5 plus 3 is 18. Bring down my 2 times. I have multiplication and subtraction. I know multiplication takes precedence over subtraction, so I'm going to do 2 times 12 and get 24. I write that right below my operation symbol that I just did. Bring down my minus 18, and then 24 minus 18, 6, and then 1 minus 1 is 0. So my answer is 6. Number 7 is done for you. Let's go to number 8. I'm going to do what is in parentheses first. 6 plus 8 is 14. I'm going to bring down my other operation symbols, numbers. I'm going to do my division before my addition. 14 divided by 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. And then number 9, 55 divided by, open brackets, then open parentheses, 3 times 2 plus 4, close brackets. I do my innermost grouping symbols first. I'm going to do my parentheses, 3 times 6. I bring down my operation symbol and my number, and then my brackets that I haven't done yet. My other operation symbol, 5, and divided by 55. Okay, I'm going to do what's in the brackets next. I know 6 plus 4 is 10. I bring down my other operations and my numbers. All right, now I have division and subtraction. I'm going to do my division first. 55 divided by 5 is 11. And then 11 minus 10 is 1. All right, let's go to the back side. Okay, and let's remember our order of operations, parentheses, multiplication and division from left to right, and then adding and subtracting from left to right. And just to note that this is the order of operations, or OOO. Here we have some different expressions, and you had to put in the parentheses so that they matched the given value. So the first one had a given value of 50, and so I worked that one out and put the parentheses around 7 times 6. I had to use guess and check on that. I just tried a few things until I got the answer. Okay, this particular problem has to be equal to 40. I say I have multiplication and division, which I would do first without any parentheses. So I'm going to try that first. I know that 9 times 4 is 36, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And it just so happens that 36 plus 4 does equal 40. So we really don't need any parentheses, or if I wanted to, I could put them around my two operations. Okay, and on our next problem, we have 25 minus 10 plus 5 times 4. Order of operations says, without any parentheses in there, I would have to do 5 times 4 first. So 5 times 4 is 20. Bring down my operations and other numbers. I only have adding and subtracting, so I'm going to do that from left to right. 25 minus 10 is 15. And then add 20. I would get 15 plus 20, and I get 35. So this problem doesn't need parentheses either to keep that value of 35. But if I wanted to, I could do these parentheses, and it wouldn't change it. All right, let's go down to number 14. This is just asking us to pick which operation would I do first. You might see one like this on a test, just checking to see if you would know. I would do what's in the parentheses first, which would be multiplication in this case. Number 15, which expression does not have a value of 6? To solve a problem like that, I would have to try out each problem to see which one does not equal 6. So I'm going to try the first one. I'm going to do what's in parentheses first. 7 times 2 is 14. I'm going to bring down my other operations and numbers. I have adding and subtracting left over, so I'm going to have to do that from left to right. So 3 plus 14 is 17. And then 17 minus 11 is 6. So this one does equal 6, so that is not the answer. For B, I have two sets of grouping symbols. I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. 2 plus 5 is 7. Then I'm going to bring down my operation and my 3 and then put those brackets. And then my other operation to the left and then 2 times. I do what's in the brackets. 7 minus 3 is 4. And now I bring down my other number in operation, and 2 times 4 is 8. Well, 8 does not equal 6, so I know that this is going to be the correct answer. Okay, we have some word problems down here. I'm going to read it. Denzel bought a large pizza for $14 and 2 drinks for $3 each. He had a coupon for $1 off of the total amount of his purchase. The following expression represents how much Denzel spent. Okay, well, I know Denzel spent $14, so that is this 14. And I see that the 2 drinks for $3 each, that is the same as 2 times 3. and then he had a coupon, which means he got that money saved, so that's going to be -1. So yes, I would think this means 14 plus my drinks minus the $1 he saved. How much did he spend on the pizza and 2 drinks? Well, that's an order of operation problem now. So once I have that expression, I can solve that. 2 times 3 is 6. Bring down my other operation symbols and numbers. I'm going to add and subtract from left to right. 14 minus 6, 14 plus 6 is 20. Minus 1 is $19. So he spent $19 on that purchase. All right, the last one. Marcus says the value of 1 plus 4 times 9 minus 6 is 31. Erica says it's 13. Who is correct? And explain. Well, I can explain this simply by working it out. So I'm going to work the problem out to see who is correct. I start off with 9 minus 6, the innermost symbols. 9 minus 6 is 3. And then bring down my 4 times. It's inside my bracket. I'm going to bring down my other operation symbol and my 1. I'm going to say 4 times 3 is 12. And then 1 plus 12 is 13. Okay, so that lets me know that 13 is my answer and Erica is correct. On the second part of our remote work, you had to write and interpret numerical expressions. And that simply is you read the problem in that's written in context using words, and you have to change it to numbers and symbols. So when we write a numerical expression, we know that means numbers, and we're going to change these words that are in the phrase to numbers and symbols. All right, so the first example, subtract 6 from 10, then multiply by 5. They said we would have to write subtract 6 from 10 as 10 minus 6. And then look at the second part, then multiply by 5. Since they said do this and then this, I know that this is the second thing that happened. All right, so in parentheses is my 10 minus 6 because it happened first. Then I multiply by 5. Let's look at these examples at the bottom. 8 more than 12, I know means 12 plus 8. Subtract 5 from 6, then add 3. Well, I know this has to happen first because it says then add 3. And if I'm subtracting 5 from 6, I have to have my 6 first so that I can take the 5 away. So this would be my numerical expression. In this problem, it says divide 18 by 6, then multiply by 9. So I know this part is happening second, and this is happening first. Divide 18 by 6, 18 divided by 6, and then multiply it by 9. Okay, on the practice problems, we're asked to complete each numerical expression. So for this, part of it is written, and I need to fill in the part that is not in there. So add 3 and 5, then multiply by 6. Well, I can see the multiply by 6 is here. I need to put 3 plus 5. That happens first, and then this. Divide 12 by 4, then subtract 1. Well, that's 12 divided by 4, parentheses, subtract 1. Subtract 7 from 10, then multiply by 8. Well, I know that I can put a multiplication in any order, so I'm saying 8 times, which is good. 7 from 9, what goes first? Well, in order to take 7 away from 9, my 9 has to go first. That's my minuend. That's my subtrahend. Multiply 3 times 4, then add 10. All right, well, I can see that I need to do this first, the 3 times the 4, and then add my 10. And again, it doesn't matter if my 10 is at the front of this addition problem or if I did it plus the 10 at the end. Either way will be correct. Complete the phrase for each numerical expression. So I'm given the numerical expression, which is the numbers and symbols, but I have to put it in a phrase. I'm going to use words or put it in context over here. So I'm looking at this problem and I see that I have the 8 minus 6 happens first. So subtract. Do I just put an 8 right here from 6? No, this is It doesn't say 8 minus 6. It says subtract 6 from what number? 8. Subtract 6 from 8. So those from wordings are a little bit tricky. And then I'm going to multiply by 5. Oops. Use add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Maybe I should write multiply. Two plus 8 divided by 10. Well, I know the 2 plus 8 has to happen first. So I'm going to say I'm going to add 2 plus 8, then divide by 10. 7 minus 3 plus 1. Well, I have to find the difference first. So I'm going to subtract 3 from 7, and then I'm going to add 1. In number 8, 4 times 12 divided by 6. Well, the 12 divided by 6 has to happen first, so I'm finding my quotient first. So I'm dividing 12 by 6, and then I'm going to multiply by 4. Number 9, we're asked to complete each sentence. 8 plus 3 times 6 is 6 times as great as. Okay, now this is that comparison stuff that we worked on. And some of us were a little confused about that, and we worked through it. But just to remind you that when we are comparing something, I'm going to take an easier problem here and remind you what we mean. Let's say, for instance, we are comparing 20 and 5. And I know that 20 is a greater than 5, but I want to know how much greater is 20 than 5. So we would think, well, I know it takes 1 5 to make 5. And to make a 20, it would take 4 of those 5s. So I know that 20 is 4 times as much as 5. And so that's what we're talking about here when we are comparing these values. All right, so let's look at these. Now, these are a little more complicated, but you're up for this. 9 times 4,724 plus 683 is blank times as great as just 4,724 plus 683. Well, we can see that this is the same as this. And so if this is 9 times that amount, it's going to be, whoops, 9 times as great. Should use a pencil. In this problem 11, it's 2 times 10 plus 6. Well, if I'm comparing that to 10 plus 6, well, they're the same here in parentheses. This one's going to be 2 times greater. And then 394 plus 571 times 5 is 5 times as great as what amount? Well, this amount over here is going to be 5 times greater than just 394 plus 571. Write each numerical expression using words. 24 times 709 plus 500 plus 54. And since this is in parentheses, I know that I have to do this first. So that I call that a sum. And then I'm going to multiply 24 times the sum of these two numbers. 24 times the sum of 709 and 54. Here I'm finding the product of 63 and 3, and then I'm subtracting 42. Okay, so the product of 63 and 3 subtract 42. Okay, I could have also said the difference of 42 and the product of 63 and 3. All right, let's take a look at the back side and finish this up. Write a numerical expression for each phrase. Now, we weren't solving these, we were just writing the numerical expression. Divide 864 by 3, then subtract 100. Well, I'm just going to do exactly what they said. 864 divided by 3, and then subtract 100. Whoops, easy enough. There it is. Use the information below to answer 17 and 18. Rashad has 12 marbles, 12 red marbles, and 8 blue marbles. George has 2 times as many marbles as Rashad. All right, so I just want to picture this here. So Rashad has 12 red and 8 blue, and George has 2 times as many as him. So he's got 12 plus 8, and George has 2 times 12 plus 8. So I'm just keeping that in my mind to make sure I understand it. Write a numerical expression for the number of marbles Rashad has. Well, he has 12 marbles plus 8 more marbles. Write a numerical expression for the number of marbles George has. Well, he has twice as many as Rashad, so it's going to be 2 times whatever Rashad has, which is 12 plus 8. On number 19, choose the best numerical expression for this. Which expression means add 593 and 88 then multiply by 12? Well, I know I'm going to have to add 593 and 88 and then multiply it by 12. Again, I know that 12 can go in the front or the back, so it's going to be C. Which phrase means 75 divided by 5 minus 8? Well, I know 75 divided by 5 could be stated 75 divided by 5, or divide 75 by 5, and then I'm going to subtract 8. Divide 75 by 5, then subtract 8. That sounds right. I'm solving these last 2 problems with you, and then we'll be done with this. Brad has 12 crackers. He ate 2. All right, so he had 12. He ate 2, so I know that's going to be 12 minus 2. Then he evenly divided the remaining cracker with his friends John. Write a numerical expression to represent the number of crackers that Brad has now. Well, he started out with 12, and he ate 2. So that's 12 minus 2. So that amount that he had after this, he split with his buddy John. Oh, it ain't John's. Yeah, it is John. So I'm going to divide it by 2. Tanisha has 234 US stamps and 41 foreign stamps. She divided the stamps into 5 equal piles. Write a numerical expression to represent the number of stamps she has in each pile. Well, I know she had 5 piles she divided it out into, and she started out with 234 US plus the 41 foreign. I'm going to add those 2 together. She put all them together, and then she divided them out into 5 equal piles. Number 3, 23. Without calculating, explain how you know that 7 times this sum is 7 times greater than this. Well, I know if these 2 comparisons are the same inside the parentheses, but this one says there are 7 times as many. Okay, well, that means I would have to write this 7 times. And so this one is going to be 7 times more than this one. The first expression means 7 times the amount of the second expression. Now, you may have worded that differently, probably a little better than me, but that will work. All right, and the last thing you did was some review work on writing some expressions, and we talked about how we did this, and it looked like a little puzzle up here. The main thing is that you worked out each of these problems below, and then you could have found your answer, or you could have just written it right in here. Now, I see they say write in the parentheses before coloring. So the first one, 5 times the sum of 7 and 3. Well, I know that's going to be 5 times, and then the sum of 7 and 3 means I got to add those. And that one was right up here. The second one, 9 subtracted from 17, doubled. Well, I know that's going to be 17 minus 9, and then I'm going to times it by 2. And I saw that one right here. The third one, the sum of 2 8s and 4 5s. So I'm adding together two things. The sum of 2 8s and what am I adding to it? 4 5s. 4 times 5. So 2 times 8 plus 4 times 5. And you can find that up ahead. 4 times the difference between 18 and 6. So I know I'm going to have 4 times, but I got to find the difference between these two, 18 minus 6. So I'm going to have to find that difference before I go 4 times that amount. 8 6s minus 10. Well, 8 6s, what does that mean? It means 8 of the 6s, or 8 times 6. And then I'm going to take away 10. The difference between 16 and 8, now the difference between 16 and 8, that means 16 minus 8, and then divided by 4. All right, and I put the parentheses around the 16 minus 8 because I know I had to get that difference first before I divided by 4. If I didn't write those parentheses, that means that I would have done the division first, which would not have given me the same results. All right, number 7, the sum of 8 and 5 tripled. Now I know tripled means do it 3 times, and the sum of 8 and 5 means I have to add it. So I have to find the sum first, because it says to, and then triple it. 6 4s divided by 4 3s. Okay, well, I have to think about what does 6 4s mean. Well, it means 4 and 4 and 4 and 4, which is repeated addition, or it means 6 times 4. And I'm going to divide that by 4 of the 3s. 4 times 3. Number 9, 15 divided by 5, subtracted from 10. So all of this has to be subtracted from 10. So this problem is actually going to start out with a 10 minus something. Well, what is it going to minus? 15 divided by 5. And our last one, 16 divided by the sum of 1 and 3. So 16 is going to be divided by, not divided by 3, not divided by 1, but by the sum of 1 and 3. So it's going to be 16 divided by 4, technically. All right, boys and girls, put a question mark next to the ones you're not sure about, and you can ask me about them when you get back to school. All right, good luck. Bye-bye.